Welcome back, my little lambs. It's time for another episode of NT Sheep's Digital Wonderlands. Welcome back, my little lambs, for Tomb Raider, specifically Tomb Raider Anniversary, the first remake of the original game that came out in the late 90s. If you saw the 5-Minute Friday preview video I did, you'll understand that we're right here outside the gate. So, we're gonna sit here and start getting used to the controls again. One problem that I need to work on is the game is only giving me the control hints for playing with keyboard and mouse, and I'm using a gamepad. I started to look things up, and supposedly there is a way to get it to where it'll recognize you're using a gamepad, so it will also tell you those controls. So, there's gonna be a lot of times where I'm just mashing buttons trying to figure out which ones I need to use to interact with the environment or to perform certain actions. Plus, this is another one of those classic games that I haven't played since it originally came out. So I've got a lot of relearning, and hopefully my memory is still intact of as much of the game as I played. I never actually got to finish the first game. I think I played maybe about a third of the way through it. It was definitely a good game, and I enjoyed it back then. I just had a lot of other things to do back then also. As Ian Malcolm always says, life finds a way. So, let's get into it and see how far we can get. Well, the doors have closed behind us, so we have no choice but to go further into the caves. But that's the whole point anyway. So, we're going to get used to exploring and everything. Tomb Raider is, the first time you play it, kind of more puzzle-oriented because you're really having to learn how to interact with your environment. I mean, there's definitely action in it. You will be facing off enemies. You know, you're going to be collecting items and stuff to upgrade your arsenal and gear. But what Tomb Raider did when it first came out in the late 90s was 3D games like this were just starting to become a new thing. And even though the idea of interactive environments is something that existed before 3D games, there's a lot of classic 2D games that have had interactive environments. Tomb Raider definitely helped popularize the new genre of the 3D action adventure and puzzle game, and it would go on to become a pop culture icon in its own right. With Tomb Raider Anniversary, the first remake of the game, you really get to see one of the neat things of how in just a few short years graphics capabilities of computers and the games really expanded and exploded. And even just a few years after the Tomb Raider Anniversary came out, again, you were seeing such amazing graphics coming out from new games. So, let's go ahead and get into exploring these caves and see what else we can find. This area of the cave is definitely going to be a good practice area, and thankfully for the most part is fairly forgiving if you make any mistakes. The biggest challenge is going to be learning how to get your timing down for jumping and using your grappling hook to latch onto things so that you can swing from your rope and navigate around. You're also going to be sitting there and really getting practice with how to navigate ledges and how to climb up and down. So we're going to sit there and try as best we can to make it through this area without too many problems. But thankfully we do have a couple of med kits in case we need them, because if you do fall from some spots in here, you're definitely going to be taking a lot of damage, and depending on where you are, you might end up dying if you fall from too far of a height. There's a strange little glitch here on this ledge to where you can't keep moving left unless you end up trying to jump upwards, and then it'll let you go. And that right there is one of the few spots in this cave area where falling from a high height is definitely going to kill you. One of the few problems that you'll have sometimes when you're navigating ledges and stuff is you really don't have good camera control, so sometimes it can be really hard to see if you're lined up with the next ledge you're trying to jump to. So if you've never played Tomb Raider before, be prepared for those kind of deaths to pop out of nowhere, it seems. Take a moment to stop and smell the roses, as they say. Whenever you come into a new area, it's best to spend a few minutes looking around for any sort of visual clues to enemies, traps, items. It also gives you a good chance to get a layout for the area and see and plan any paths you might need to take to get to those things. So, always just take a few moments to stop and enjoy the scenery. Sometimes you're going to see items like this and you're going to get so focused on them thinking there must be a way to get to them from where you are, but the truth with this one is we're actually going to have to get out of this cave, and then there's going to be a way coming back from the next area that we're going to get to. The clue, if you stand in the right spot, is you'll be able to see in the back of the wall behind the glowing little relic, there's another opening. So then when you look up above and realize there's a bridge going up above this, that's your clue that you need to go over the bridge and everything, and then there's going to be a way on the other side of that for dropping back down to get this little item. try not to get too hyper-focused when you see a shiny object. This area here is going to introduce you into how to use ropes. So this is a good little area to practice if you want to get used to how to control yourself on a rope, because there's going to be lots of different things you can do on them. So let's go ahead and move through this area, and we're also going to end up seeing that if we drop down to the bottom of the pit that this rope is over, that's how we're going to get back to get that one artifact. This area here might be one of the first ones that really sits there and bends and breaks your mind trying to figure out how to solve the puzzle. You've got to get the locks on this door unlocked so you can get it open, and there's a specific order that you have to do it in, and I forgot that, so I spent about the next 25 minutes trying to work out how to get this darn door open, and then trying to work out how to get to the artifact that's all the way in the top right corner of the door. And eventually I had to just go ahead and stop and start looking up things online. So I'm going to sit there and play a little bit of how you get through this, and then in the next video we're going to pick up from my saved checkpoint, and I'll show you how to get through this really easy.
There must be a way to open this door.
So the game sits there and tells you to look at Lara's journal for tips and clues, and the clue is there must be a way to open this door. Well, I would think that was pretty obvious. It does sit there and show you in the cutscene the locking mechanism you've got to get to, and that's where I ended up making my first mistake. You do have to do these things in order, and I ended up skipping this one and went around to the other side first. So this is where I'm going to end the video, and in the next one we're going to be picking up from this area, and I will show you the quick and easy correct way of the order to unlock the door, and then also how to get to a hidden artifact that is in this chamber. So thank you so much for watching, my little lambs, and I hope to see you again next time in the Digital Wonderlands.